I'm Owen Video, and this is the Headsmack Podcast.
You are listening to conversations with misfits, mavericks, and trailblazers.
Hey, welcome to the Headsmack Podcast. My name is Paul Pavolny, and I'm excited to have another misfit with me. I have Owen Hemsath, or also known as Owen Video, and he is a globally recognized YouTube growth strategist and award-winning high-performance coach for the nation's top influencers. Owen has been called a pioneer on YouTube and has consulted for top brands. He is considered the leading expert in becoming an influential thought leader with media strategies. Owen, how you doing, man?
Man, so good to be here, Paul, joining the A-list of champions that you've had on your podcast in the past. So I'm thrilled to be here, bro. Thank you.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you doing this. I've had a lot of fun conversations. Absolutely love doing this, and I've been looking forward to this conversation as well. Definitely want to dive into YouTube strategies and hear all about that. I want to talk a little bit about your story. And so usually the way I like to start this is just hearing a little bit about your story, starting off with your origin story. So you can go as far back as you want to go, as far back as you feel is relevant. But tell me a little bit about Owen, a little bit about your origin story.
Sure. Well, sketch comedy is my first love, you know. I remember being like 9 years old, 10 years old, doing sketch comedy videos at home with my dad's video camera.
Oh, wow.
And that video camera, I mean, I had a video camera with me connected at the hip since I was a kid, and always filming this and that and video journaling. I mean, I was podcasting before podcasting was a thing. And that's kind of my story. So when it came time for me to grow my family, I was married, I had 3 kids, and it was time to start a career. I was trying these different jobs, and it was like, man, I just wasn't vibing at a job. And so I took my video camera and went door to door in the business community in San Diego, downtown San Diego. And I just started offering people videos. And it's like, hey, I'll make a video for you. Yeah. And it was like,
was this one of those big VCR on the shoulder type things? Or
definitely. Definitely using, we're SD cards at this time. But SD cards were brand new, and YouTube was brand new. In fact, at this time, 2009, Google wasn't even owned by Google didn't even own YouTube at this time. So what our pitch was going to local businesses, and Google Maps had a place where you could put a YouTube video. And I would go in there and I would say, we're making YouTube videos for your Google Maps listing. It's $20 to get a video made. And I'll shoot it here and I'll edit it tonight, and you'll have it like in a week or two, you know. And they're like, oh, okay, you come back tomorrow? And I was like, I can. It's $100 if I come back tomorrow. Because I'm here now, and I got the team, and everybody's here now, you know. So it worked, and we did 100,000 in our first year of business. Yeah. And so I've been uploading videos to YouTube. I've uploaded thousands of videos personally to YouTube. I've made my own sketch comedy videos. I have sketch comedy on YouTube and on TikTok, but it's not our big career. What we really focus on and what I'm known for is we help business owners launch profitable YouTube channels. And I'm not talking about the local laundromat or the local karate studio. I'm talking about 7-figure, 9-figure companies, brands. I'm talking about business coaches. I'm talking about lawyers and doctors. Right? Like when you go to YouTube and you see like a celebrity doctor, we may have consulted on that channel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Right. We work in that level of YouTube. Now some of our clients, local real estate agents, man, that are like grinding away. We have a company of coaches, of editors, of thumbnail designers. And what we do is we align ourselves with business owners, and we build the channels for them. Sometimes we're consulting at the brand level. It's more like we're consulting their teams, but that's what I'm known for, is working in the business community on YouTube. So it's not just about making a viral hit. It's about creating a community, an audience, building a customer base, having a funnel, and having a brand, which you know so much about. It's about like, how do you present? It's like when the American people, your audience, not everybody's marketing to the American people. Some of us are marketing to like the city of Dallas, right? When the city of Dallas thinks of you, what do they think of?
Yeah.
Right? Oh, they don't think anything. Okay, well, that's a problem. Let's build a YouTube channel. Maybe run some YouTube ads locally. right? You're running billboard ads. They're running billboard ads. I'm going to run some YouTube ads. So there's a whole comprehensive strategy that we dive into that goes way beyond your title and your thumbnail. To not only create viral hits, but we're also building a company with a cash register in it. And that, I think, is a more important question, is like, when does your channel hit ROI? And what are you trying to get famous, or are we building a cash machine? Right.
Yeah.
Those are real questions, Paul. Some people are like, Owen, this is what they say to me. They go, Owen, I want to get famous, and great. Now we know what our bullseye is. Let's make some viral hits. Let's interview some famous people. Versus, hey, I want to build a cash machine, a brand. It's a different type of strategy. And so that's what we do.
So before we get into the strategy, I know, you mentioned that you're working with, 6-figure, 7-figure, 9-figure type clients, but that journey to that point hasn't been smooth. You've had some issues that have come along the way that, have affected you personally. So tell me a little bit about that journey as we go, kind of circling back to your origin and the path.
Yeah.
Tell me about what happened.
Wow, man, you went straight for it. It's like Oprah. It's just like hitting it, dude. So, and we've known each other a while. So in 2015, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I engaged in a very public and very visual journey through chemotherapy and radiation therapy that I brought my audience along for. And it's a real trying time, but the business grew during that time by the grace and the power and the majesty of the Lord, who watches over me and protects me better than he protects the lilies of the field and the flowers of the air. Like, I cannot take credit for that. Something supernatural happened during that time in my life, and we're grateful for it. So I came out of cancer ready to run the world. And after cancer, Paul, people saw me. And they were like, dude, Owen, host my show. Owen, run my channel. Oh, we were blowing up, broadcasting from my garage where I had a team member. I had a hired employee that come into my garage, which was decked out to look like a studio. We built it with our own 2 hands. We were doing live streaming. We were building channels for these huge brands, big companies, apps that you use today, apps that are no longer around today, and startups, and all of this momentum. And it was amazing. And our company was growing. We were doing that exponential new business, speaking at conferences all over the place. And then, Paul, I collapsed 4 years later.
Wow.
I had been in and out of the hospital with blood clots and all sorts of side effects from the chemotherapy and radiation, all culminating with the excitement of growing a business and going from chemotherapy and the stress that has on the body to being the world's best YouTube business influencer.
Yeah.
And speaking in Ireland and man, all of these places. Alexa, stop. Stage 4 cancer. The cancer came back stronger than ever. It had taken over my entire body. They told me that there was nothing that I could do.
Wow.
They told me to go home and to get my affairs in order. And then they sent me home to die. And that's when I went through a process. I went through a deep mourning process where, again, God through his Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, are you for real right now? That's what God said to me. He's like, you're here right now? You're crying? He's like, I made the oceans and the skies and the seas. I led the Israelites through the Red Sea miraculously in front of everybody. You're worried about a little disease?
Wow.
You're worried about the natural? He says, Owen, you got cancer because you lived a toxic life. That while your wife, who I gave you, has been trying to get you to eat healthy and lower the stress in your life and hire a team to help you, you continue to live a high stress, high grind, Mountain Dew, Doritos fueled life.
Wow.
And I made a change. I made a change in my life, Paul. I went completely holistic, completely natural. I did not do chemotherapy. I began juicing and fasting and intravenous vitamin C, and I bought a hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy and ozone therapy. In fact, you heard me turn my alarm off
Yeah.
a second ago. It's because I got ozone water over there bubbling that I'm ready to start drinking and start my day. And I stand before you 2.5 years cancer free.
Wow.
And I began to build a channel on how to live a holistic, alternative, natural lifestyle. And I do a little private coaching for typically wealthy CEOs and influencers on how to beat cancer naturally, because it is not cheap, my friend. Like, you can fast your way through cancer. Yes, you can diet your way and you'll get tremendous results. But there are also more expensive therapies that I engaged in that my audience helped me pay for. And now we help other CEOs and executives.
So tell me a little bit about some of those lifestyle choices that you've made, with the second round of, getting the cancer diagnosis and going a different route than what you did previously.
Yeah. Is it okay if I grab my bubbly water here?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and grab it.
I don't want to, I know we're live, so we're recording here. So I want to be judicious, but okay. So great question. Thank you for asking, because the pain and the hell and the torture of chemotherapy and radiation is something I can only equate to war. It's something I can only equate to, I can't imagine another scenario where you're walking around and there are dying bodies all around. And I understand it's not war, and I would never want to offend a soldier who's been in that situation. But for those of us who have never experienced battlefield war, cancer is the most hellish war that I've ever faced as an American citizen.
Wow.
And it's when you get out of it, you're in this place where you're like, I never want to go back there again.
Yeah.
So when cancer hit me the second time, I was already in this place of, I don't want to go back and do what I did there before. But when they tell you, here's the thing, is they told me I was going to die, and they actually told me that there was no chemo for me. They told me
that wasn't even an option. Yeah.
They told me there's palliative. We can do palliative chemo, but it's not going to save your life. They were very clear about this with me. They were clear with this until the day I said, I'm not coming here anymore.
Wow.
So what happened in me, Paul, was a complete reversal of the person I was to the person I am today. There was a complete unplugging or waking up and coming out of the matrix where I had to kind of learn, I am the owner of my life.
Yeah.
And if I live or if I die, they're not going to mourn me or raise my kids, And so it's I had to kind of get to this place where it's I'm not going to live if I follow that advice. If I surround myself with people who think I'm going to die, right? Go back to the soldier analogy. You're looking around this chemotherapy room and you're going to these hospitals. Nobody in there looks healthy. Nobody in there is getting better. Nobody in there is saying, man, chemotherapy made me feel so much better.
Yeah.
Nobody in there is running and and just I'm doing chemo and I just got all my energy back. It's the complete opposite.
Right.
A lot of us I had some symptoms. I had some side effects when I went in there. Things that were bothering me, but I could still handle my life. I thought I had a bacterial infection or something like that. It's get some antibiotics, right?
Yeah.
Turns out, no, stage 4 cancer. But my point is this. My point is people get unhealthier when they start doing chemo and radiation, right? Nobody gets this revival of energy and my skin looks great. It's very much the opposite. And so the narrative is something we need to challenge, right? Is it better to do that? Right? Or is it better to do what I did, which was completely natural? And I was not a person that trusted in that. I was not. I trusted in their medicine. But then they told me that we have no more medicine for you. So I got hopeless, right? So there was a bottoming out that had to happen.
Yeah.
And I as it was picked up, I'm a man of really mustard little faith. But When for an unchurched person to hear me talk, like, yeah, I go to church. Like I love the Lord Jesus, and I had to take it to God, and I had to be like, Lord, what are you doing? Like, I didn't know this was part of your plan, right?
Well, it's almost like the story of the woman with the issue of blood, right? She had spent all her time with the doctors, and they said, we can't do anything. We're kind of hit our max of trying to help you, and her only option at that point was to pursue Jesus, pursue an alternative solution.
Touch the robe,
Yeah.
And God even gave that to me in a vision where I was crying. The doctors had called me. I try not to do this in the interviews anymore. I'm so far past it now, but like, the memories are ripe and alive in you, like the doctors called me and told me, like, this was after the third MRI. It's like, hey, every time they scanned me, Paul, they found something else.
Wow.
And it just went deeper and deeper into my body, to the tumor behind my heart that would one day push against my heart, and either you see the end of the story from there.
Right.
So they told me that. They told me, like, we finished the MRI. We found a tumor that's bigger than the other tumors. It's right behind your heart. And there's just no scenario where people outlive this. Right.
Wow.
And so I'm crying. That was the last night I ever had alcohol. I was drinking wine when that happened, and I never had alcohol again since then. But I began to cry, kind of prostrate myself on the floor. And I had a vision of the foot of Jesus in front of me, with his robe, dirty robe, hanging off of it. And he said, what he said to me was not touch the robe. It was, do you trust me? And it was a reference. He was like, do you trust me that I'm going to get you through this? And I remember physically Paul reaching out. Knowing it was a vision, kind of, it was in my mind, but like reaching out to just show that faith and trust. It's like, yes, Lord, I trust you, but I am afraid. I am afraid. Here I am, this influencer, this business influencer, living a very public life. I already did this. I did, like, to do it again. I got to do it again. That's when he showed me a more excellent way, Paul. So that's when I after that night I went to Amazon, and I found a book called How to Starve Cancer. That book changed my life, introduced me to the metabolic approach to cancer. In any case, when you've heard of someone beating cancer all naturally, what has happened is a metabolic reversal. Okay. In every case, like, that's what, I know a guy ate grass. Well, radical diet change. That's like 0.2 of the metabolic principles, right? 0.1 is, what is it? There's a book called Radical Remission, and it covers the 9 different metabolic factors of any all natural cancer reversal. And it's becoming a science. We're seeing the rise of Dr. Sten, Dr. Berg, the rise of RFK, right? Like, and this is not political. In fact, I feel like RFK has this great unifying factor, unless you're like hook, line, and sinker for the medical institution, the $1 billion pharmaceutical thing, right? And they'll couch it as, we care for the poor and all this stuff. It's like, there's a war for our dollar. Right. All that to say, the natural way is like 9 core principles, and you don't have to do all 9, but it's kind of matching the type of cancer you have. So I did, to answer your question, at long last, I immediately began a plant-based diet. No meat, 0 meat. I don't care who you are. Meat is not good for the first 90 days, 6 months of any cancer diagnosis. So I went plant-based. I went keto, right? So keto, man, plant-based, but plant-based keto, right? So no sugar, no carbs. And I'm doing less than 1,000 calories a day. So if you're a cancer patient, you're either going to lose weight from chemo or you're going to lose weight from fasting. Either way, losing weight is the doorway to beating cancer. Cancer is a metabolic disease. It's metabolism, right? So those are the big things I did. And then I engaged in hyperbaric oxygen chamber, I engaged in intravenous vitamin C and I even cryotherapy, right? And like going freezing for 3 minutes, right? Cold plunging, measuring blood sugar, all sorts of ancillary therapies, but nothing performed better than the fasting and the diet change. And then I would say there was a trauma piece to it. There was a mental health piece to it that I'm very comfortable talking about, but most people aren't comfortable hearing, right? It's like there's a thing called the ACE quiz, right? Adverse Childhood Experience quiz. It's 10 questions. And the out of 10, if you answer 6 correctly, the idea is you're 60% more likely than the average American to get cancer. 7 yeses, 8 yeses.
Wow.
If you had a physically abusive parent, you're automatically 6, right? So when I learned about that and the trauma roots, what a Christian might call spiritual roots of cancer and all disease, mind-blowing, revolutionary, change things for me. In the secular world, it's like Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton, right? These guys are not guys I follow spiritually, but scientifically, vibrationally, these dudes are right on.
Yeah,
So I saw a therapist. I saw a faith-based therapist who walked me through a process of forgiving people who had wronged me.
Yeah.
And letting go of past trauma. And 6 months later, I was cancer-free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such a fascinating story. Well, and the reason I wanted to dive a little deeper into it is both my wife and I have had different cancer issues.
Wow.
I've had a blood cancer diagnosed for the last couple of years, but it's not an aggressive one. It's polycythemia vera. And then my wife had breast cancer. And so we've been on this journey to health as well.
Yeah.
She did the radiation, she wished she hadn't done it, after she started.
Same with me. Radiation was biggest mistake. Mistake. It's not a term I like to use, but it's like, looking back, it did nothing for me. Cancer came back anyway, and radiation has had the most devastating and long-lasting side effect.
Yeah. So we've been on this plant-based lifestyle. I've always wrestled with my weight and everything else. I've tried keto. I've tried carnivore. I've tried all of that for health reasons.
Yeah.
Felt good because most of the time it was because I stopped eating processed foods, for all of these different solutions. But once we started more of a plant-based, eliminating white stuff, white flour, white sugar, anything, so dairy, milk, and all of that stuff, living plant-based. I've, from my peak of where I was to where I am now, I've lost 50 pounds and I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
And so my last blood work that I had done, was very positive. My wife hasn't gone back to see a doctor about, her thing, because she was, cancer-free, after the initial radiation surgery.
Yeah.
But the value of the plant-based lifestyle, it's great to hear you talk about that, because, I'm a meat lover. I love a good steak. I love, I love meat. I'm European. I'm Australian. I love it. So making that switch for me was a tough switch. But then when I see the health benefits that I've had, when I see the results of changing the way I eat and changing what I consume, it's really made a huge difference for us. And so, with your plant-based lifestyle, is that something that you went in intense at first and leveled off? Is it something you've maintained consistently? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, no, it's a tapering off. I believe in balance. I believe that, man should not live on bread alone, right? And while I believe it's an allegory for the need of spiritual sort of guidance in a person's life, I think it also refers to, like, we're not just there's multiple things that we need. We need a diversity of gut flora and gut, So I believe in a diverse diet, but we become ill from the standard American diet. And so what we need to do are resets. For some people, a carnivore reset is a good idea, but a carnivore for life sort of thing, I feel like gets religious. although there's no harm in it. Like if you're carnivore for life and you love it, great. It's not right for everybody. That's what it gets me, is like the carnivores who are like, everyone should do this. And it's like, it really is not, is not that way. And then we can talk about beef quality and what's in the beef and these things like this. So, with the plant-based diet and any other diet, I believe in a metabolic flexing of moving in and out. And this is a term my good friend Ben Azadi coined, is the metabolic flex, right? So like, going from plant-based for a time, 90 days, right? And then flexing back into maybe some meat, some fish, for not a long period of time. Like maybe it's a weekend celebratory meal. Maybe it's like, you do this 90-day flex into plant-based, and then you enjoy a weekend off of flexing. So you're not cheating, but you're opening up your diet into other nutritious foods, not junk. Cheating is junk food, right? It's like jumping into apple pie. It's like, that's not the purpose. But by all means, dude, have a piece of apple pie. Like if you did 90 days plant-based, going through cancer, I was terrified of sugar, and I never ate sugar, not even fruit, man. Until I flexed into a juicing diet, right? So when I first went plant-based, it was more of fasting, because I didn't know what to eat. And my wife would literally put lettuce on my plate for dinner, like a TV show. We didn't know how to eat plant-based. So that was a learning process. And during the learning process, it was just kind of like lettuce and fasting, avocados, right?
Yeah.
Then we learned how to put together meals like chia seed pudding. We learned how to do things like salads and prep and food prep. And then plant-based food became to be abundant. It was like artichokes for dinner, and I would develop these vegetable-based meals that I loved. And it wasn't about diversity, man. Like I would eat spinach and mushrooms for like a month because I loved it. I loved it, man. And it was like, why switch it up? I think when you look to have a 3-course meal every meal, or even 3 meals a day, you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're saying, I need to eat according to the timeline that Kellogg's invented in the 1920s, as opposed to where I'm at now. Is I listen to my body, dude. I still fast until about 2:00, but not because I'm on a plan, but because my body thrives when I do that. You know what I mean? If I don't eat or by around 2 or 3, I start to go a little nuts, like I do. Like I get a little hype. So it's like, I know some people, they can't make it 16 hours. You have a different metabolism. So, it's about you flex in and out. You go, I'm going to fast. I'm going to eat some vegetables. I'm going to see what my body responds to, what my blood tests respond to.
Yeah.
And look, I was doing keto plant-based aggressively, about 1,000 calories a day, tracking every meal with very regimented, tracked, and documented fasting, like bursts, fasting campaigns, okay? For a year, Paul.
Wow.
And I shrunk my tumors significantly, decreased metabolic activity in my body substantially. Doctors go, I can't even tell if these are tumors.
Wow.
But she could see something. And that's what I couldn't beat with the keto vegan diet. With all my tracking and with all my regimented, everything I learned from business and marketing and YouTube analytics. It's like, okay, we just got tests. What did the tests say? What are the things I can impact? What do I think that means? That's when I switched to juicing. I reintroduced sugar by way of vegetables and fruit only.
Yeah.
And began the trauma therapy. And 6 months later, I'm cancer free.
Wow.
So that flex got me across the finish line.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I believe you have to kind of like move in and move out. And on a cancer journey, what you do is you just do what you think is right first. and you talk to other people, there are, get this, enough people going through cancer now to talk to others. And there's actually enough survivors now to talk to other people. So cancer isn't as lonely as we have to feel it is, but the doctors will try to make you feel like you have a unique, rare cancer. Guys, this word rare, so you feel like only your doctor can help you. It's just not true. Like, I did things people with blood cancers did because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. And that's where you get radical remission, the 9 factors of metabolic health. Like, you do those things in some balance and you'll find your way to health, or you'll live 20, 30 years longer happily, as opposed to living the last 3 years of your life stuck to a machine, paying hospital bills that's slowly, leading you to the great hereafter. It's a different way of living your life.
Yeah. Well, and, with the stuff that you've gone through, from the initial first diagnosis, you said you still, you're documenting your journey, your business grew, you kind of fought through the after effects of the radiation and the chemo and everything else. When the second diagnosis came, and you went plant-based, you went healthy, you started, your business still grew, right?
Yeah. We've never
but it was a different way and different strength that you went into it with.
Yeah, 100%. Facing my own death. We planned my funeral, dude. Like, I make it sound like you tell the story and it's like, so they told me to go home and I was like, no, I'm going to trust in Jesus. It was not that. It was, and then even after the Lord said to trust me, and I was like, now you're on this faith-based journey. And everyone thinks you're wacko. Everyone thinks you're wacko. And you just got to hold to it, man. You just got to be like, I'm sorry. Like, so, the type of person you were has to grow up. And nobody wants that, right? I wanted to be Peter Pan, man. I wanted to just have fun on video and, be a dad and stuff. But like, all of a sudden, my priorities changed. And it's like, I wanted to live a life abundant.
Yeah.
And so there was a flip in who mattered, right? And it used to be the views mattered. And they still do. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get 3 million views a month on my Instagram channel, my cancer Instagram channel. And then I have client channels that are doing tens of thousands. Like, we get views. But there's also this, like, where do you live your life at, though? Like, my life is these kids who keep coming into my office and writing things on my whiteboard. Like, can I have, blueberries today, and I got my son here too. I'm sure Ben, you can write on the board your needs too. And I'll get to you. That's my priority, Paul. Like, am I sacrificing what these kids will remember about their time with dad, which is limited? That's the thing, is cancer. Really, you learn you're limited. You are going to leave this earth someday.
Right.
And then what will your trophies be? Right.
Right.
That some random people across the US and Canada really,
hit the like button
viral once or twice. They thought I was so funny once or twice, right? Or like these kids that, like, I spent 18 years with and they don't even know me because I was trying to please these internet people.
Yeah.
Similarly, your clients, like, I spend a ton of time with my clients, man. Like, I want to be Jerry Maguire to my clients. I want to grow deep with them. I want my clients to come to me with their marriage problems. I want their clients to come to me with, like, their health problem. In fact, one of our mutual friends just contacted me and was like, "Hey, my business partner has cancer. Will you talk to him?" That happened during this podcast, and wow. It's like, I want to be there for that. So I'm also thinking about the kind of business that I want to run. Where do I really make my money, Paul? Really? Is it really in going to blank conference?
Yeah.
And speaking for free? Or do I really make my money, like, here? And developing great relationships with great clients that I can grow with, multi-year clients.
Right.
So it changed my perspective. And yes, as of this recording, we've never had a year of non-growth. Some years, man, it was $30 we grew by. It was like 30. You know what I'm saying? It's like we just never a year of non-growth. Profit margin grows every year. So good, healthy business indicators.
Yeah.
But what's happening this year is interesting because I'm working less than ever. I have hired another YouTube expert to step in and do the consulting and coaching role. She knows, loves, and breathes YouTube, and she said to me, she goes, Owen, it's so refreshing to talk to someone who says they know what they're doing, but actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, Cassie, it's so nice to talk to someone who knows that I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because I talk to lawyers. Right. Lawyers don't know what's going on YouTube. All they know is, did I go viral or did I make $1 million? And it's
yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, this year our profit margin is lower substantially because we've hired. I've never worked less and revenue is still growing. So the journey in business changes. My desires and even who I am has changed a little bit. And I used to be funny, Paul. I
used to be funny.
I used to be a funny guy. I told you guys in the beginning, sketch comedy is still my first love, and I love to laugh. But cancer did kind of kicked my sense of humor in the gut a little bit, and I got a little bit more serious and rugged. But I'm excited at what's ahead, and I'm excited about the next 45 years, man. Facing your mortality and then defeating it, and it's just like, bro, I feel like Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm like a Christmas goose. Go buy a toy. You know what I mean? That's how I feel in this season of my life.
Yeah, facing mortality, when either we see it or we experience it ourselves, is really a big awakening moment. Because I think within us, God's placed this, this sense of eternity, and when we hit the temporary, it's kind of eye-opening, when the temporary of somebody passing close to us, or our own diagnosis, or a traumatic incident or whatever, and we suddenly face the fact that we are not immortal. This isn't forever. It does really reset our priorities, and it sounds like both business and personally, you went from the just about the likes, or just about money or whatever, to more about impact,
big time.
I
actually feel the word impact isn't a big enough word, and legacy is not quite it too, because I don't care if they remember me, but I want to have been someone that made the world legitimately better for people that I love and care about, in ways that I love and care about. We're not raising protest kids. We're raising kids that are, we're not raising victims here in our home. We're with our kids, man, we're disciplined. We're homeschoolers. And again, that came from cancer. The distrust for the medical, revealed this whole hierarchical system that we're like, oh my gosh, and we immediately switched charters and private schools, and we found that those were just as infected. And so it's my wife stepped out of the business to homeschool, and it's been amazing. We're close. We're close as a family. In fact, my son, I'll tell it, Ben, I need to see your chores. So go ahead and take a picture of your chore and bring it back to me. They're all in here asking me, can I leave? Can I have my phone for the day? And it's like, nobody has offered proof that their chores are done. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? And they're learning that dad's not in a hurry for summertime. I told the kids yesterday, I said, hey, our whole life should be summertime. My kids kept talking about the weekend, and I said, no, guys, we need to live a life where every day is the weekend. So they know, because they're like, oh, Dad, but the kids, they're going to the pool and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, well, 7 ways to solve any problem, son. Let's get it done, So look, it's not important to when I say protest culture, look, what I'm saying is it's not important to me, what gets likes and clicks and views, unless those things are aligned with my values. I'm not going to take clients I don't like or that treat me bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we had a client, dude, and they were believers. But dealing with them was extremely difficult. And we had to let them go as clients. And we kind of like ramped up to this. It's just like, hey guys, it's not how we do business. Hey guys, we understand that in your circle, you're the head honcho, but you can't talk to us that way. You can't talk to our team members that way, you know?
Yeah.
And
so
then,
how else has your business changed? You talked about your family change. You talk about your family, your health change, your diet change, lifestyle change, everything. So how has your business changed? Because I do want to spend some time talking about, what you're doing now and how you're helping people. Has it evolved from pre-cancer 1 to post-cancer 1 to pre-cancer 2 to post-cancer 2?
In terms of the business?
Yeah, and what you're doing now to help people and make an impact, because your whole life perspective changed. So what are you doing now?
Yeah, it really has. Cancer has been the very real and physical sort of like bumper that has forced me to elevate in my life, and we can see direct direct responses to a cancer. In fact, one of my favorite lines is from the Hunger Games, and it's moves and counter moves. And I feel like that has really helped me in my life. It's like cancer wasn't like devastating, right? It was a move.
Yeah.
What's my counter move, right? So, yeah, the first time it's interesting. We got into consulting. The first time I did cancer, I had a done for you business, and I was doing all the work. I was filming and editing and doing all running ragged.
Yeah.
Cancer. During chemo, I couldn't do that. So I moved to consulting. And I was actually consulting people while I was in chemotherapy. It was wild, bro. Wild. People are like, are you coaching me while you're in chemo? And I was like, yeah, can't nothing stop us.
Wow.
And I needed it because I needed to have purpose. I needed to not sit there and look at all these other people who were miserable and moaning.
And distraction, purpose and distraction, probably. Yeah.
I even asked the hospital if I could have like my own room, and they were happy to do it because they were almost like, Owen, your happiness is kind of disturbing the other people. That's kind of what happened. So that was the first evolution. And then I got into consulting, which grew us to, an $800,000 company. But I've now burnt out coaching every client. No other YouTube experts on the team but me. We had editing experts, and we had like Reels experts, and we had social media experts, but no other YouTube experts. So then cancer again, and then that switched us back into now we're going to run an agency. And there were two parts to that because I got better right around the same time AI, right? I got my cancer-free test results about 6 months after I had already built an AI scan reader, which today is replaced by ChatGPT, right? Like you don't need my scan reader anymore. You just upload your PDF scans to ChatGPT and ask it to read it for you. And then ask it to read it for you in 6th grade language. In fact, I got a testimonial just 2 days ago from somebody in my cancer support group who goes, I have a premium membership to ChatGPT because of your video on how to beat cancer with cancer scan stuff. So AI was just coming out right around the same time I got my cancer-free test. And we knew that people weren't going to want coaching that they could get from a GPT or a faceless YouTube channel. So what could we do that they could not get from AI? And it's like, we'll build. So we moved to a done for you company. So now, and here's the thing, most of our clients anyway, like our unsuccessful clients were like, it's just, you can coach me, Owen, but I just need someone to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what we stepped into. We converted, Paul, like 40% of our clients into done for you. The others just couldn't afford it, or they just timed out, and we started doing done for you. And again, company exploded. Wow. Now we use AI. We even build AI channels for a couple of our clients, but you don't have to, right? Like AI is not going to replace the talking head soon. Even though we're going to see AI videos, AI avatars, right? But an AI avatar talking head video is still a talking head video. So,
Right.
right. And people are going to want to know, people are going to advertise just like the Matrix, man. Remember, he was like that one guy born live and free right here in the real world. You're going to be able to say, this is Paul broadcasting free and in the flesh.
Yeah.
And people will like that. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm not a Luddite. Yes, I'm not a Luddite. Okay. I'm not this. I'm a very tech forward person. But I'm kind of like Elon. It's like the best way forward is going to be an integration where we're dancing with technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people will thrive on AI alone. Some people will thrive, but people, as AI thrives, more humanity, more connection is going to thrive. And we want to walk that ground with our clients to make sure that we're using technology to grow the human side, to grow the business side.
Right. And so when it comes to even doing video and what you're doing for your clients, what seems to be, from your perspective, working best? You know, you've said you've had multiple viral videos,
Yeah.
you've had a lot of success in likes and exposure. What do you feel is really working well for video right now that somebody that is considering it or failing at it or kind of teetering on that point, should I jump into it?
Yeah, it's really good. You know, what's working now is what has always worked in marketing since the beginning of marketing. YouTube has not changed much in 15 years. And I challenge you to find anyone who's been uploading longer than me. I mean, Daryl Eves, who's like my brother, who taught me this game. You know,
Yeah.
like, you're not going to find someone who's been uploading that long that I don't know and doesn't know me, right?
Yeah.
So the principles are there. And number one, it's this, is have a clear value statement. You might call it a channel name, a mission, but like, there's something your channel does.
Right.
Right. Matt Wolf is like, I bring AI technology, or, you know, new AI technologies to the world. Right. What is it that you do on that channel? And then you create videos in groups that we call silos. And silos is like an ecosystem of videos, right? So you're going to pick a topic and make a bunch of videos on that topic that would stimulate binge watching, right? So easiest example is, I mean, how to build a website, right? In that video, how to build a website, it's like multiple videos on how to build a website. So they come into video and they're like, hey, how to build a website, da, 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 da. But you're also going to need to know how to do blah, 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 which I cover in my next video. So watch that video now. So you need to make videos in groups called silos. And this is that we have been teaching this for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then the last part of it is you've got to create. So you might have like 2 or 3 silos that you're creating in right now. Like, I want to rank for this keyword. I want to be known for this industry. And then I want to do this trending topic or whatever. You're going to do that. And you're going to do that consistently for a year. You know, where creators, where business owners will struggle is they will not have the wherewithal to plan topics, sit down and film those topics, and then manage that video file all the way to publication.
Right.
So it'll drop the ball somewhere. And what you're missing is like a VA who can expedite all of that. And you're not going to find that person either, because nobody knows how YouTube works. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the role that we fill, is like, we write the topics for you. And then we film with our clients once a week with you, so that you're sure. So we'll film 2, 3, 4 videos with you. Then we keep the file and navigate it all the way to publication. Right. So that's what helps with the consistency part of it. Right. So you have a clear value statement for what you're doing. Right. We're a lawyer channel and we help people get green cards. Right. And then we make videos on those topics. Here's how you get a green card if you're in India. Here's how you get a green card if you're in Spain. Here's how you get a green card if you're in Mexico. Right.
Yeah.
And then you have to create those videos on a regular basis. Yeah, you know, that's it. And where most people fail is they have these ideas,
Right.
concreting them and like putting them into a machine that just cranks out a video every single week. Like, that's where you'll struggle. No AI will help you with that. Like, you just need that work with an assembly line that can move things forward, and that's what we do. We use a lot of AI to get our clients there.
Yeah. I've always said that ideas are everything and nothing without good execution. And so, you can have all kinds of ideas, but you've got to be able to execute on that. And it sounds like that's what you guys specialize in, and is getting that idea from just in somebody's head beyond that, because they kind of die between that space between idea and execution.
Yeah. We stockpile, man. Like, we all have these ebooks we've written.
Yeah.
We all have these great images. But I always think about the mail, bro, because say what you will about the mail makes more money than you do. Like, anyone I've noticed ever complains about the post office does more revenue than you do. Right. And that's important. Taxes, and they're obsolete. And I might agree with a lot of that. Okay. But the mail puts it in someone's hands. And we have to think about digital marketing as like, where is the digital hand? Right? Here's my product. How does it get into the digital hand of someone? And there's free pathways to do that, right? Like, how do I get my content looked at on their screen? Right? That's what we call impressions. So how many mailboxes did I get into? Right?
Wow. Yeah.
And then, so I've always thought about the mail and physical business as a model for the internet, because even though it's different, there's this clear, like, but it works kind of thing. So getting our products into their hands and into their consumption, it's something I've always been really focused on. And I think I've done well to my own detriment. I think that I could have probably gone all in on like marketing podcast entertainment type stuff. And I think I would still have a thriving YouTube channel and lots of brand deals. But I don't think I would have the life and the lifestyle that I have now. I chose business. And I'm glad I did, because I'm in this place where I'm starting to go behind the scenes and kind of pull the strings. And I'm really enjoying that role. I'm really enjoying like the CEO role, and being able to do podcast interviews while Cassie is doing what she loves, managing the clients that I used to serve. So it's been this really radical shift from like, only I can do it.
Right.
To actually being a CEO, kind of.
Yeah, man, this has been an amazing conversation. I know you have back-to-back stuff happening for you today, so I want to honor your time. What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
Go to YouTube at Owen Video. Find me. Go to my website. Best way to find me, owenvideo.com. That'll redirect to our company website. Learn about us, follow us, check us out. Maybe we're a good fit for doing business. Maybe we're a good fit to be friends. I don't know, but I enjoy the conversation, Paul, and I appreciate you taking it into something a little bit deeper than just YouTube today. It was a good time chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. Loved the conversation. Can't believe how quickly it went by. And would definitely like to do, as you mentioned, the follow-up. Would love to do a follow-up and just dive in straight into video stuff. But I love the conversation. Appreciate you coming on, Owen. And grateful for you and your story. Very inspiring, and what you do for others as well. And inspiring them and coaching them and helping them on their health journey is amazing. And then, of course, all the amazing video stuff that you do. Proud of you, and look forward to catching up again sometime soon. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
You are listening to Conversations with Misfits, Mavericks, and Trailblazers.